It had only been a few days since Advent's bold assault on the Avenger, but things were already quickly getting back to normal. Lily was busy coordinating our repair teams, Tygan was puttering away in his lab, and Bradford was busy compiling reports about potential targets of opportunity that we could pursue. Overall, despite how close we had come to complete and utter destruction, in the end we had managed to escape without any significant casualties. There were a lot of minor injuries, and some of the men were understandably demoralized, but most of them were just eager to find some way to even the score. I was as eager as anyone to get a little payback, but there were other things that I had to tend to first. We picked up Corporal Varnas and Major Williams shortly after escaping the ambush, and it turned out the lead that they were following had also been a trap, and although Williams had been injured, they had both made it out alive. Even injured and outnumbered, Williams had apparently been unstoppable, hacking and slashing his way through anything that Advent had thrown in his way. After reviewing the report, I decided that Williams had thoroughly earned a promotion. With Advent stepping up their game, it was obvious that we were going to need to start putting our own soldiers through some more specialized training programs. The Reapers apparently had some sort of special training program that they were eager to share. And of course, Dragonova was quick to recommend that Altex should be the first person to try it out. Soon afterwards, Tygan surprised me by requesting my presence in the Shadow Chamber. I knew things had been strained between us lately, but I was happy to see that he was still willing to at least work with me, and I quickly accompanied Bradford down to the lab. It turned out that Tygan had finished his analysis of the specimen we had recovered from the forge, and he had even managed to keep it in one piece. Unfortunately, while he had learned a lot while studying the thing, it had ultimately left us with even more questions. Apparently, this thing was some sort of genetically engineered template, akin to a clone, but designed with, well, I'm not even sure how to put it. I guess you could say that this thing was designed to have modular DNA. It was built using genetic material harvested from humans, but designed so that Advent could simply import other pieces of alien DNA to create entirely new creatures, like those things that Advent kept sending out onto the battlefield. It was certainly an unsettling discovery, but I wasn't sure what we could actually do with this new information. Tygan suggested that we might find some way to use it to our advantage, if we could finish decrypting some of the other files that we had recovered from our other operations. Unfortunately, we just didn't have enough scientists on staff to reasonably finish a project like that. Not if we wanted to finish it in a reasonable time frame, anyway. For now, I told Tygan to just focus on some of our other projects, and I would work with Bradford to see if we could track down some more potential recruits for our research staff. Tygan agreed and quickly got back to work. Apparently he was currently keeping himself busy down in the Psi Labs, where he was tinkering with the Warlock's old rifle, while he also supervised our ongoing Psi Trooper experiments. A few days later, Altex returned from Reaper territory, and, true to their word, it really did seem like he had benefited from their intensive training program. He was hesitant to give me any precise details about what the training had involved, but I guess the important thing is that it had gotten results. Afterwards, Bradford sent me a report about a new resistance cell that we had contacted in skirmisher territory. He was eager to personally handle the negotiations, but I just couldn't spare him at the moment, so instead we sent out 2 of our other operatives. Woe would appeal to the resistance cell's sense of duty and patriotism, and if that didn't work, then Naz would just, nudge them a bit to help change their mind. And with that, another month had come to an end. The spokesman contacted me with his usual report, and as often seemed to be the case, he was quite pleased with our continued progress. Since Advent had failed in their latest attempt to destroy us, they had now rededicated themselves towards inconveniencing us in any other way they could find. The latest reports indicated that they were currently focused on new encryption and scanner jamming technology in an effort to keep their latest construction project hidden from our operatives. I skimmed over all the reports as usual, but a blurb on the last page really caught my attention. Apparently, the UFO that had shot us down had been spotted landing in New India, presumably to resupply. Oddly, it hadn't landed at an Advent facility, but it instead touched down in the middle of the lost-infested wilderness. It was vulnerable. Morale had been low ever since the ambush, so this seemed like too good an opportunity to pass up. Sure, it was probably another one of the Blightwalker's little traps, Everything seemed to be a trap these days, but I certainly wasn't going to let that stop us. I quickly put together a strike team and ordered them down to the Sky Ranger. I decided that it was a good idea to include several of our lower-ranking recruits on this operation. It felt important to reassure them that they were playing an important part in taking back our planet. I put Michaelum in charge of the squad, with Fireball, Rhino, and Captain 246 backing him up with some heavier firepower. This also seemed like a good chance to put recruit Gera to the test. His training wasn't complete, but the lab tech still assured me that he was quite capable. I also decided to include the Hunter-Killer on the team. I was still a bit leery about its increasingly erratic behavior and its ever-shifting appearance, but given how likely it was that this was just another one of the Hunter's traps, I wanted to make sure that we were ready for it. Besides, this was literally what the Hunter-Killer had been made for.
Somehow a group of resistance operatives managed to disable a UFO that's set down near one of their camps in this area. They gave us the ship's position, and it's likely to be carrying valuable alien technology, so we're moving in to secure the site. Neutralize any hostile contacts on approach. Menace 1-5, UFO site coordinates locked in. Move to secure the area, neutralize all hostiles. Estamos en ocultación.
Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to episode 30. Today we're tackling our second UFO raiding mission, which, honestly, is probably one of my favorite types of missions in XCOM 2. I know. I'm supposed to be focused on saving humanity from the clutches of Advent and its ethereal masters, but I'm a raider at heart, and these UFOs are just packed with loot. Now, it looks like we're on a pretty claustrophobic map here. It's very narrow, and it appears designed to channel us straight into the UFO, which is actually pretty close by. So I'm thinking we're going to head up onto this plateau over here to get a good elevated view of the alien ship, and from there we should be able to pick off at least one or two enemy pods. Of course, once we fire our first shot, the timer starts, and then we'll be on the clock, so we want to make sure that we're as close as possible to the ship before Advent knows we're here. Now, we're going to be moving pretty slowly and cautiously on our approach, so it's going to take us a couple of minutes to get into position. Let's go ahead and skip forward a bit. And welcome back. As you can see here, we've moved our squad into position, and we've spotted our first enemy pod. We're dealing with a stun lancer, a shield bearer, and an Archon. We've also got two lost over to the left, but I'm not worried about those guys. They're completely trivialized by that between the eyes resistance order. We'll take the lost down when it's convenient, but our main focus this turn is going to be dropping that first Advent pod. And, if possible, picking up that shield bearer for our own use. Antonio's definitely not as well trained as Naz or Atlas, but he's still got a pretty good chance of dominating that target. And I'd love to use the shield bearer's ability to put a blade of armor on all of our soldiers. Of course, the second we try to dominate one of those targets, the whole pod will be activated, so I'm thinking that we'll start off with an area attack. We'll just carefully place it so that it doesn't hit the shield bearer. So let's go ahead and switch off to Rhino here, and move him up to a better firing position.
Affirmative.
And then he can get us started with an incendiary grenade.
Grenade!
That did a decent amount of damage, but more importantly it set the Lancer and the Archon on fire. The fire disables some of their abilities, and does ongoing damage. Now, of course, we're going to try to finish them off before the end of the turn, but it's good to plan for the worst-case scenarios. Case in point, the Lancer just dodged Denal's pistol shot. Now, the ongoing damage would almost certainly kill the Lancer, but Denal has another shot, so we might as well take it. And that one did it. With the Lancer out of the way, let's go ahead and see if we can grab that shield bearer. Antonio, you're up. Well, I can't see anything through all this fire, but okay, looks like we got him. Good work. Though it does look like we activated a bunch of additional zombies. Hopefully we can keep them from killing our new shield bearer. But first we need to take out that Archon. Let's see if maybe Fireball is close enough to Blade Rush it. No, unfortunately she's just too far away, and we're definitely not going to waste her action taking out a zombie. Denal still has an action because he has the Death from Above perk. But unfortunately he's not close enough to actually hit anything with his pistol. We could probably move Cazador up though. Yeah, let's bring Cazador up to the edge of the cliff here. That should give her a clear line of sight to the Archon. I guess we should have her clear out some of those zombies first. But we'll be sure to save a bullet for the Archon, too. Alright, that puts the Archon extraordinarily close to death, so let's see if we can move someone else close enough to finish it off.
Confirmado.
We'll take a few more shots at those zombies first.
Ya no es una amenaza.
And now for the Archon. There we go. That neutralizes the first Advent pod. We've still got a couple of zombies over near the shield bearer, so let's see if we can move Fireball into a better position. She won't be able to shoot at them this turn, but we can still put her on Overwatch, and she might be able to pick one of them off when they approach.
On the move. Scanning.
Oh, and let's set Denal on Overwatch too. Well, well, look at that.
So many choices.
I guess we get to put the Hunter-Killer to the test after all.
So little time. Commander, one of the Chosen is here. We'll have to deal with it before it throws off the rest of our operation.
Unfortunately, it looks like Blightwalker wasted no time climbing on top of the UFO. That actually might end up being a bit problematic because I don't think there's any easy way to get up there. Not for most of our guys, anyway. We've also got some more Lost on the field, but honestly, who cares? Those things are just easy XP.
Menace 1-5, we just picked up an outbound signal coming from the UFO. It's some kind of distress beacon. You need to get inside that ship and shut down the signal before they send their whole fleet after us.
Okay, we're on the clock now, so we need to get half our squad into the UFO to disable that distress beacon.
Hostile target down.
Got your hands on a Chosen weapon, eh?
And the other half of the squad needs to keep the Hunter off our back. First things first, we need to clear all of these random zombies out of our way, and then we'll start moving some of our guys up to the UFO.
Hostile terminated. Target neutralized. Target Target eliminated.
That takes care of most of them. Now let's pull the shield bearer back to a safer position and see if we can use him to clear out those last two zombies. I do want to use his energy shield ability, but at the moment he's just way too far away from the rest of the squad. And of course he missed. That's what I get for relying on an Advent soldier. Well, let's bring Antonio down to babysit him.
No está mal.
And that takes care of that. Now let's start getting some of our guys up to the ship. Obviously we're going to have Fireball in the lead, but then we'll back her up with, well, obviously we need Michaelim in there because he needs to hack the distress beacon. But we'll keep Cazador focused on the Hunter since she's the only one who can get on top of the UFO.
I'm compelled to agree.
Got it covered.
We'll move Rhino up to back up Fireball, and Nazzul will be staying up on this plateau to take potshots at the Hunter.
Got it covered.
And we're done. Your move, Blightwalker.
Guard duty it is.
Okay, it looks like he's trying to hunt our sniper. We shouldn't have any trouble dealing with that.
¿Y bien? ¿Qué te parece?
Doesn't seem all that difficult to me.
And it's our turn again. We've got a couple more zombies on the field, nothing to worry about. I think we'll go ahead and breach the UFO this turn. I'm just a little concerned about what the Blightwalker might be up to. Let's go ahead and move up, but we're going to take it slow. We'll hold at the door frame and take a quick peek inside. It looks clear so far. Let's set Rhino on Overwatch and we'll move Fireball up to join him.
Move into position. Oh yeah!
Now let's go ahead and move Michaelim up behind them. Like I said, we're going to need him to hack that beacon.
Hostil neutralizado. Todo cubierto.
Now let's start bringing Cazador up. I do want to get her on top of the UFO so she can have a throwdown with the Hunter, but
I'm reloading.
I don't want to expose her to needless fire, so we'll have her hug the wall this turn. That'll also give her a chance to clear out this last zombie. Oh, and let's go ahead and move Nazzul out of the line of fire too while we're at it.
Not a problem.
Observe how it's done.
Now let's put that shield bearer to good use. Sadly, he can only do that once per battle, so now he's just a glorified decoy.
Ahí yo voy.
Alright, let's get everyone else on Overwatch and see what the Hunter does this time.
I'm having a vision.
Ha, well, Looks like the decoy's already doing its job. Oh, and of course we've got more Lost on the field.
Hostile terminate. Get it together.
Time is running out, Commander.
Okay, now it's time to see if we can do something about that hunter. We're going to bring Cazador up on top of the UFO, but once she's up there, she's on her own.
This unit is relatively active. You killed off one of the other Chosen, and the Elders put all the blame on me. Thanks a lot.
It's one of the Elders chosen.
Alright, let's start off strong. Hit the overdrive.
You're going to pay for that one. Just off target. I didn't come here to play with your toys, Commander.
Not a bad start. That took off all of his armor and about a third of his health. Now let's see if Denal can hit him. Though, first we'll take care of this zombie.
By the numbers.
Definitely not a great chance to hit, but I guess we might as well take the shot. Unfortunate.
Missed the target.
Must be one of those magic bullets.
Let's go ahead and push the rest of the squad in.
Heading out.
Still looks pretty clear. Well, aside from that one zombie, but that's easy enough to fix.
Target neutralized.
Moving to position. En marcha.
And let's start pulling some of these other guys off to the side here. They might be able to draw line of sight to the hunter if I pull them far enough away from the UFO.
Ven y verás.
Let's get everyone back on Overwatch and see what the hunter does.
Poniéndome en guardia.
I have a few friends stopping by. I hope.
Okay, well that's not too bad. Oh, and there we go. Fireball took out the Berserker.
Hostile terminated.
Don't get so excited. Those guys are a dime a dozen.
El blindaje aguanta.
I've got something for you. Creating the Lost might be the Elder's biggest mistake yet. Aside from letting you escape, of course, Commander. If you don't take me down, you might ruin your legacy, Commander.
Well, Blightwalker clearly just tried to stun Cazador with some sort of flashbang grenade, but lucky us, it looks like she's immune to them, so let's keep hunting the hunter. Hello there.
Preparing my weapon.
Actually, I wonder if we can blow a hole in the UFO's roof with her plasma blaster. Well, he's still on the roof, but at least we did a decent amount of damage. Now let's see if we can do something about that chrysalid. And there's that other pod again. I guess they haven't been activated, but we'll have to be careful where we move. In fact, let's just make our cheesy move of the day. We'll find a good spot for Fireball to stand, and then we'll tear the Advent pod apart with her Shred Storm cannon.
On your order. Plenty for everyone.
I suppose that's why the Elders want you back on the tactical side, Commander.
What, because of my cheesy tactics? Well, I guess I could see why they might want someone like that. Okay, let's see if we can start clearing out some of those codices. Though, unfortunately, it looks like Denal doesn't really have any good lines of sight here. Let's go ahead and move someone else up instead. Let's see what Michaelum can do. He's got a good flanking shot on... Oh, that's a Spectre. We definitely need to take that thing out before the end of the turn. He definitely hit it pretty hard, but it's still standing, so... Let's see what else we can do. Antonio's out of ammo at the moment, but fortunately he has an assortment of powers to fall back on. Let's see who he's got line of sight to. He could take out that Spectre, but I should probably prioritize that Codex that's flanking him. That's one less threat to deal with. Now let's see what Rhino can do. Rhino's got a pretty good shot at that other Codex, but I'm not sure I want to commit him to that action just yet. Let's see what else we've got. Oh, I guess it's just Rhino and Denal at this point. Well, let's go ahead and do something with Rhino then. He's got a pretty solid chance to take out that Codex, and a reasonable chance to take out that Spectre. Though I could guarantee the kill with a grenade. But first, let's go ahead and burn his first action on Teamwork. That way Michaelum will have an extra action, just in case. Oh, and I guess that was kind of pointless because he needs to reload his gun. Oh well. I guess we really do need to prioritize taking out that Spectre, so let's go ahead and use his last grenade. And, Denal. I can't really see any good spot to move him, so let's just put him in Overwatch. Now the codices are up. First, one of them's going to drop a psionic bomb on us. And there it is. Then it's immediately killed by feedback. And now the other Codex is doing something. And we've got another Advent pod on the field. A heavy mech and an elite purifier. We've got multiple enemies on Overwatch now, so gotta keep that in mind. Looks like the Hunter is finally taking this seriously.
You'll have to suffer a little longer. You really think you can hide from me?
Okay, now let's see what we can do here. We've got 4 turns left. And we've got 4 enemies on the field. Let's start by seeing what we can do with Cazador. Oh, she actually has line of sight to the distress beacon. Sparks aren't really trained to hack, but you can't really fail hacking a main objective like this, so let's go ahead and get rid of that timer. Okay, that's one thing off our plate.
It's not really hacking when you are the system.
We've knocked out the alien distress signal. Looks like the skies are quiet.
Now let's have her take another shot at the Hunter. Well, he dodged, but at least we did a little more damage. Oh, you know, I just remembered that Denal is packing a grappling hook, so let's get him onto the UFO and see if we can find a good position. Let's bring him up to some of this cover, and then he can take a shot with his pistol. It won't do a lot of damage, but it would be great if we could poison the hunter with his venom rounds.
Negative damage.
Not the best first impression.
Well, the first shot missed, and that gave him some ablative shields, and the second shot took out the ablative shields. But we still managed to poison him, so overall I'd call that a net gain. Now let's see what we can do about these other enemies. We've still got a whole Advent pod here, so we want to take out as many of these guys as we can before the end of the turn. We can definitely take out that Codex with a Blade Rush, so let's start by focusing on that mech first.
Heading out.
Oh, right. The enemies are on Overwatch. I constantly forget that enemies can use Overwatch. Well, it missed, so no harm done. Now let's go ahead and put Rhino's blaster bomb to good use. That trims off the mech and the Purifier's armor, and it knocks the mech off Overwatch, so at least we've got that taken care of. Now let's see if we can get some use out of this shield bearer. Hey, he finally managed to hit something.
I hope you're not expecting me to go down that easy.
Voy a ello. Preparado.
Now let's go ahead and take out that Codex. There we go.
Target eliminated.
I can respect the art form, but you're not gonna catch me with a sword.
En marcha a las coordenadas designadas.
And unfortunately, Michaelum needs to reload, so we'll just have to hope the mech doesn't hurt anyone too badly.
It's time to make the elders proud.
Whoops, looks like we're dealing with some mech-on-mech combat. Cazador might actually be in trouble now.
You better step up your game, Commander. Every shot counts. Hope you're comfortable.
Okay, this is bad.
We need to get our people back on their feet, Commander.
There are only 2 enemies left on the field, and they're both on top of the UFO, where most of our squad can't even see them. We've got 2 people up there, but one of them's badly injured and the other one's dazed, so... Oh, we can still use indirect fire. In fact, let's go ahead and have Antonio toss his freeze grenade up there.
Lo que tú digas.
This should neutralize the hunter for a full turn, but I've obviously never tried freezing a Chosen before, so hopefully he doesn't have some secret immunity to it.
You're not much for subtlety.
Okay, that buys us a little more time, so let's get that mech off the board. Ah, and of course it survived with, what, 1 hit point left? Well, let's start moving people out towards the street. Maybe we can draw line of sight once they're far enough away. But it's going to take a while to get the, Wait a minute. Why is Michaelum's revival protocol? Oh, he can target Denal? Well, yeah, we'll definitely do that. And there we go. Denal is back in the fight. Let's have him go ahead and finish off that mech. And hopefully the hunter will stay frozen long enough for us to take him out next turn.
That's right.
You're a cold-blooded killer, Commander. It takes one to know one.
Thanks, you're not so bad yourself. We're not going to be able to do much else here, so let's just start shuffling our guys into better positions and reload where necessary.
Good to go. Explorando.
Ah, okay, so he does have special resistances to the freeze grenade. He's just not completely immune to it, so at least we accomplished something.
That was the least likely outcome.
Let's see here. Can Nazzul hit this guy? I don't like those odds. Let's just hedge our bets and bring the hunter-killer right up behind him.
It feels good to move around.
I don't get wounded often, but when I do, it makes me angry.
Well, he's still in it, so take the shot, Nazzul. Nicely done.
What did you expect?
I'll admit, he was definitely a bit more of a challenge this time, if only because of his cheesy positioning.
You might be the first to ever take me down more than once, Commander. Don't get cocky. I'll be back to finish this later.
Status confirmed. Mission accomplished. Excellent work, Commander. We may not have put them down for good, but at the very least, we've held off the Chosen for another day.
We must never allow these dissidents to fill our hearts with fear. Their victory today is a minor footnote in history, a small bump on the path of salvation the Elders have set forth for us.
This just goes to show that the Chosen are vulnerable and we can take them down. We just have to figure out how to keep them down.
And once again, Bradford has forgotten that we've killed 2 of the 3 Chosen. Anyway, we've got promotions. Fireball will pick up Run and Gun. Rhino will pick up Heavy Ordnance. And Nazzul will grab, well, Steady Hands and Aim are both pretty conditional, but between the two I think I'll get slightly more use out of Steady Hands, so let's go with that one. And we're done. Operation Steel Star had been an unmitigated success. It had, of course, been yet another one of the Hunter's cute little ambushes, but as usual we had managed to drive him off and laid claim to the bait. In this case, the bait we walked away with was several tons worth of alien salvage and a pile of genetically engineered corpses that we could sell on the black market. It was going to take Lily over a week to get Cazador back into peak condition, but otherwise everyone had walked away without a scratch. Morale was through the roof. I had to remind myself it was important to avoid becoming too confident, especially after how close we had come to death just 1 month earlier. But I'll admit, on days like this, it really was easy to forget just how quickly our fortunes could change.